got it.
It's loading. It's loading. It's loading.
There's a little
There's nothing wrong with your, there's nothing wrong with your podcast. It's loading. There's nothing wrong. It's fine. Here we go.
Little circle happening.
So there's no audio for us, but thanks, Mental.
Did you share your sound? You did not.
Share audio? No share audio. Must share audio. It's a podcast.
Is it seriously not sharing the audio?
It's not sharing the audio.
Oh my God. All right. I pushed the damn button that said
oh my
share
God.
audio. Oh my God. All right. Don't, I'll just edit this part out. Okay.
I was going to say, this is the worst show ever.
Worst show ever. Okay.
I mean, we've done worse.
Show
Mental
ever.
hasn't had a whole bottle of tequila yet.
Yeah. Emphasis on the yeah.
There we go.
Welcome to Everyone Racers.
A show designed for the world of low-dollar racing and oddball car culture.
It doesn't matter what kind of limit champ or lucky track dog league you run.
SCCA or NASA, we won't discriminate.
As long as you drive it hard and built it yourself.
Join us each week for tech discussions, tips,
tricks, as well as news and notes from the world of amateur endurance racing.
And whether it's on the spot, hella sweet, or we're lucky enough, and Chrissy,
and I give you just the tip.
We're sure you'll giggle a little and learn even less.
Everyone report to the paddock.
This is Chris.
This is Chrissy.
And I'm Mental.
And we are Everyone Racers. Welcome to a Magnum PI episode of our show. If you're not a private investigator in Hawaii known for your mustache and Ferrari 308, then at least you get as many free plays on the E1R bingo card as you want. It's episode 308. We really couldn't do anything else on this one. So,
and I'm so proud that you went with that, because had you tried, I would have deleted it all and straight gone for Magnum PI. There's just there is no other.
Nope, couldn't do anything else. So,
yes.
So Mental, are you working on your mustache and Hawaiian shirt or something else?
I think the mustache is falling under the larger heading of beard, which falls under the larger heading of I just don't like to shave. And same thing with the hair. So speaking of which, I traveled to Atlanta this weekend to wish my dad a happy 83rd birthday. And while there, we apparently I do get it honestly, because my dad, he picked up from the same lady, an old 80s Honda 80 scooter, like the old the ones that were really cool back in the day. Does
that have the pop up and down headlights? It
doesn't. It's right after that. But it's still got the same shape to it and the same design. And basically, this lady goes to church with my dad. Her husband is me and Jeff and many of us in the future. And he passed away with a garage full of crap and a yard full of crap. And they've been trying to sort through it and get rid of it and get rid of all this kind of crap. And one of these was this 1963 Honda CB77 Super Hawk that he had gotten. So we got that, and we were trying to diagnose it. There's no key to it. And I tried, once we got the battery, we rebuilt the carbs, and went through and made sure the engine was freed up, got some WD-40, checked, cleaned and gapped the plugs, and tried, kicking it over so it wasn't froze up. I could not successfully, I could get the bike to turn on hot wiring it, but I couldn't get it to fire the ignition, which is interesting because the CB77 was the first Honda motorcycle with an electronic ignition. So I'm probably going to end up having to go back there and help him work on it later, but we ordered a service manual and some other things. So we did that. My nephew is now 17, is driving and has a car.
Oh,
my brother got him an EcoBoost Mustang. Before you judge, you judge, did not know this. Ford software allows you as a parent to track everything that car does. Yes. You can limit the top speed. So the top speed of it is limited.
What is it? What did he limit it to?
75. No, he hard shut off at 75 miles an hour. And
I mean, I hope it's not a hard shut off.
Like the car doesn't stop. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's not do that.
sets the top speed on that. And there's a variety of other things. Basically, it's a car with parental controls.
Wow.
And
A 2023, brand new.
2021.
Okay.
Really nice car. So
Okay.
yeah. But I was traveling. I was trying to surprise my dad. I did not want them to have to come all the way down to the Atlanta airport, because it was his 83rd birthday, which means that it's time to play Guess the Toro.
Oh, I guess the Toro.
Now, parameters.
Thank you.
I literally needed only to drive from the Atlanta airport.
How many bags?
It's a weekend.
My both carry on.
That's what I
carry
figured.
on wheelie bag and a thing. So my primary concern was affordability. Read cheap as possible. In fact, it was the cheapest car that was available on that weekend.
And do they deliver this to the airport for you, or do they pick you up at the airport? What do they do with Turo at the airport?
So Turo at the Atlanta airport, there's a variety of options. The times that we've picked up cars there, there's a variety of pay garages, like the economy garages that they have, and they'll leave them there, and then you go and pick them up. So I went and just hopped on the little train to the next stop, which is the convention center, hotels, and all that kind of stuff. And there's a big parking garage there, and that's also where I returned it to. So picked it up, drove to my parents' house and back. It was exactly what I expected. I wasn't impressed, but I wasn't angry because I rented the cheapest car possible. So think affordable, bargain basement, and you already know the country of, or at least the region of origin. So questions.
So yes, we're guessing Asia for region of origin.
Pretty much.
Yep. Okay. Does it have a trunk or a hatch?
Trunk. Good question.
Okay.
And it was only you, correct? No siblings, no, just
correct.
You. Okay.
Yeah. One more. Is this a model that is still in production as of next year?
No. Excellent question. You read ahead on the notes. I like that.
Where's ahead? Read ahead of the notes.
I was reading my section of the notes. Yep.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
Chrissy, any other questions?
No.
All right, I'm going to guess Kia Rio.
No. Good guess. Solid guess.
You wouldn't be so okay with it if it was a Nissan. So
actually, yeah, okay, I was right.
Yeah.
No, it was absolutely no. I'll throw that. Yeah, I totally avoided big Ultima Energy.
Uh-huh.
As a matter of principle, I would have walked.
and Big Sentra Energy and Little Versa Energy.
Right. So I just think Nissan
Okay.
is going to be out of it. A Malibu. No, it's not. No, because you said it was Asia. Damn it.
Think cheap, shitty Asian cars with a trunk.
But it's not a Nissan.
I wouldn't even call it.
Not a Nissan.
I'm not going to call it shitty. I'm just going to call it honest, basic transportation.
I don't know. Go ahead.
All right. It was a Toyota Yaris sedan.
Okay.
Freaked me out. So I get in there and.
Which is a Mazda 2, actually, is what it is.
Yes. So I get in the car and, I'm trying to orient myself and I look down and I'm like, oh, I'm familiar with these radio controls. Oh, wow. Yeah, that screen looks familiar. Wait a minute. These gauges, the steering wheel, the window controls, the air conditioning, everything is exactly the same as my Miata. And I'm like, I can't be going this crazy this soon. Am I imagining this? And I pulled the proximity key out of my pocket and then yes, that generation of Yaris is a Mazda 2.
Yeah.
So
Mazda didn't sell the 2. They put Yaris badges on it and let Toyota sell it.
Pretty much. And before that, it was the IA, the Scion IA, which again, Mazda 2. Just good basic transportation, decent touch surfaces, good stereo.
And it's Mazda. Yeah.
Yeah. I drove it like 71 miles. It gave me 30.9 miles per gallon.
Okay.
I'm sure you were very, very gentle on it too.
I kind of was,
Yeah.
I got on the freeway, drove to Hiram, Georgia, parked it, and
Turned around, came back.
yeah, Monday
Getting on the
morning,
freeway,
2:00 in
stand
the
on it.
morning, got on the freeway.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could stand on it, ain't gonna do any good.
Yeah.
Turn up the radio.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I'm going to deliberately skip over Chrissy because she's got big news. That is really cool.
It's not.
But Chris,
I've been working on the Mazda a lot. Not a lot, but enough. You know, the post-race stuff you do, including I did a control arm, and because we had a bad bushing, which is what caused the alignment wonkiness at Thompson. So new
It's nice to
control arm
find
on there.
things.
And I've taken to now, anytime I replace a greasable part in the car, I take the boot off that comes with it, and I clean out the crappy grease that it comes with, and I put in better quality grease, and then put the boot back on. So that's wheel bearings, ball joints, anything like that. Because I think for the kind of abuse we put these things through, I think the dollop of crappy grease that they put on at the factory doesn't get pressed around into the joint and everything. I think this will be better. So we shall see. Anyway, it took a while to do the alignment properly, but got it actually done really well. I think made a new exhaust from the header to the middle of the mid pipe back, which now has a ball and socket joint flex into it. So there's nothing really left to fail at this point. Like, it's got lots of hangers.
you better have not done something.
Right, exactly. A wooden
Right.
desk. This is great. And then the flex that is further downstream. It is in the airflow. It is in a spot that is further away from the near point of the fuel lines. So even if something leaks there, it's back where it has more room and a better heat shield with a bigger air gap and a long way from the fuel lines. So that's all safety. So anyway, that's done. Mazda is
Yay.
race ready
Yay.
as it goes. Yep. Got the Corvette cleaned, pictures, ad written, up for sale on RacingJunk and GRM. So that's great. I've had
Somebody
zero
buy it.
interest so far.
Somebody buy it.
Yep.
I did cross post it on a
I know.
couple of
Oh, you put it-
groups.
You put it everywhere. All of
Yeah.
our friends reposted it a lot. So we just that my
Just
hopes were
nobody wants
unnecessary.
an 84 Corvette, unfortunately.
Well, it got a good response on one of them. It's the unusual dailies at reasonable prices. And there was a couple of people going, it's not a a reliable good card. It's not a good price. But some other people like, oh, I had one of these back in the day, or I would totally daily that, but
Yeah.
Great.
No one said that's a good car. It's a mid 80s
Mm-mm.
General Motors product. Like,
No,
it's not a good
exactly.
car.
If you're
It
gonna
looks
gonna
rad.
buy one, it's because you want one of those. This is
Yeah.
the same
Or
reason
you
people buy-
had one and
Yeah.
you thought it was great then and you
Yeah.
nostalgia.
It's the same one,
looks-
same reason people buy Pintos in Vegas. There's no matter how old they get, they're still not good cars, but people want them because they have a very particular aesthetic.
Right.
Yeah. It looks rad. It
does
makes the
look rad.
right sounds with the Borla exhaust. It was like the hot spec in 1984, if you care about that kind of thing. And it has a really loud stereo for playing Van Halen.
It also has a fairly good sized trunk
It
and
does. The air conditioning blows cold. right?
overdrive.
Yes, it has overdrive.
Hate it.
Aside from that, I've been working on the porch, getting the recessed lights installed in the ceiling and wiring, and fixing the sins of the prior contractor, which included last night. There was a electrical box that was behind the siding, no cover on it, that was cracked, and it had 5 different Romex wire cables, the 3-strand Romex coming into it, 5 different ones that were 4 of them. No, six came into it. 5 of them were all twisted together, just wrapped with electrical tape, no actual like connectors on any of those. Yep, that was great.
Yikes.
And then there was one cable coming in that was just looped off by itself. Turns out that's from a different circuit, and that was still hot. Ask me how I found out. So
You laugh, but if he actually got zapped, it would be awful.
Yeah.
It's
turns
110.
out-
It just, it's
Well, no,
it's
I
just
was-
a really aggressive funny bone hit.
I was trying to pry one of the staples that it was doing it, because I thought this was a dead wire in the wall coming from nowhere. And as I was prying with the bent bar, all of a sudden it went pop, zap, and it was kind of up in the wall a little bit. So I was like, oh shit, well now I have to fix that because I can't leave a hot, like potentially open wire inside a wall when we're about to leave for a weekend. No. So
But you've
more
done
wall
it
open.
for 10 years.
We didn't
Well-
know it was hot.
Well, now I by prying on it, I pulled back just enough of the insulation that it could potentially
And
arc
that
again.
wall's all exposed because we're
Yeah.
working on it.
Turns out that we know where that, okay, I try to get it out, get that one stripped, checked it, where it, all right, it's not hot anymore. Okay, that must have tripped a breaker. I go to the breaker panel. None of the other breakers are tripped. Only the one that I knew I turned off intentionally. Turns out, you know where that wire is coming from? The GFCI in the bathroom downstairs was somehow powering this other wire out on the porch.
Over
No clue.
there to over there.
Right. It's not like that far from it in the house.
Far
like
enough that you would
it's
not
actually
think that
pretty
they're
close,
connected.
but it's not where you think it was. So that's the next place I checked. Because like, well, it's got to be another GFCI. That one was.
Of course,
blown.
this is all at 8:30 at night.
Yeah.
Or not almost 9 o'clock. So he's just scrambling. He's like, I can't stop now because we've got the whole house torn apart. The power's off,
Yeah.
and you just found a hot wire.
Anyway, that wire is now powering some of the outlets on the porch. I just put a GFCI out there. That's powering some other stuff. And the recessed lights work. Everything's back together. The wiring is actually all done except for changing some outlets outside just for different color and style. So, yay. And it's nice to be able to work out there when it's not daylight.
Super.
Anyway, that's all for me. Chrissy,
Very
your turn.
nice.
So we went on a scrap metal run this weekend. I had a bunch of scrap metal from work. We had changed throughout our plant, instead of having everything, all of the overhead wires and piping and stuff above our head, it's in trenches in the ground. These trenches get bowed and they need to be replaced. So we got a bunch of
there's trench covers.
trench covers get yes, they get bent. They need to be replaced. They're very heavy. Steel, pretty thick steel. Unfortunately, Chris said I would love to be able to take them and use them for something, but they are very thick. Many of them had diamond plate on them. Some of them 10-foot plus, or at least just a 10-foot. What is the trailer?
Mm-hmm.
Just 10 foot. So I said, I need these out of here. I could either put them in a rollback for the landfill, or I could we would just pick them up with the tiny trailer. So I said, okay, let's go pick them up. So we picked them up. And then while we're there, I said, I have this other cart that I need taken. And we said, okay, great. Well, and we had a couple things from the house that we would bring to the scrapyard. So while we're standing there, I showed Chris around a little bit, and then he said, "Oh, what about these filing cabinets?" And I said, "Oh, they're fire safe
out by the dumpster."
Right. So they're fire safe fire cabinets, or they're filing cabinets. And I said they're like really, really heavy. So if we want to try to move them, we can do that. So we struggle and put one plus all the drawers, and so we put those in.
Really, really heavy.
Whoa! What just happened?
Sorry, I tried something. I didn't realize
Mental's changing the
okay.
Zoom view. Just keep rolling, Chrissy.
Okay. So we decided to load them all onto the trailer. It was pretty heavy. And yeah, so we went to the scrapyard. We make bets on how much we were going to make. I won. Chris picked $55. I'll just tell you, I picked $82, and we made $102, something like that.
Wow.
$6. $106. Yeah, we had no idea, and there was all mixed
Just light
steel.
iron. Yeah,
light iron. That's what you call it.
we were just under 2,000 pounds, like 1,960 pounds.
Mm-hmm. So we did scrapping. That was good. Got that done. It helps. We could eat, not ramen for dinner, which was great. And just kidding. And
right now everyone's like, they own a what? They're selling a Corvette?
Right. I'm just kidding. We just joked about all the things we could do because we just sold some scrap and
get some 40s.
And I got rid of stuff at work, which was great.
It'd be great.
Oh gosh. So I got stuff at work. I got rid of stuff at work, which was great. Anyway, scrapping was good. And then what we were talking about before, and we're going to talk about a little bit later, is I passed my OSHA 30.
Which is you mentioned you've been studying for this for a while. You brought
I
this up on the show.
I
Yes.
have, yeah, and I didn't say what it was because I should have absolutely had this before. I didn't, but it did it all in my own time, and it took me just about 40 hours of study time. So it took me a lot. I missed the deadline. I had to get an extension. They fought me on the extension. And so I had to scramble and get it done this weekend. So I got it all the study done and was really nervous about taking it, and I got a 90. So it was pretty good. And the things I got done that I missed were done. So yeah, that's what I did this weekend and for the rest of my life. But it was a good use of my time. Our many trips in the car, I spend most of them on the computer, just go rocking through it. So passes the time. I'm sitting somewhere anyway. So Chris listens to a podcast. I do my OSHA. And we're going to talk more about it later. So let's keep going.
Okay. All right.
Ready?
Well, I believe. Yeah, go for it.
Susan, time.
Sure is. Fellow Pennsylvania resident Patrick George at the Autopian alerts us to this new trend with an article of the same title. America is witnessing the death of the subcompact car. The Kia Rio may be ending production after the reported demise of the Mitsubishi Mirage. The only car left in the U.S. under 20,000 is the hateful Nissan Versa. No listener will mourn the death of the Mirage or Rio or Versa, but it does establish a bigger issue. Where are the cheap new cars? We've already lost the good ones, the Mazda 2, the Honda Fit, the Chevy Sonic, the Spark, not so good, but whatever, it's gone. The Fiesta, good car. Yaris, good car. Mirage is gone. Accent's gone. Rio's no more. Sad. There's no just cheap and cheerful cars anymore. Bummer.
Yeah, and that was the article that Patrick George makes. If you live in a city or you're just out of college and you're saving for the cool car, and you just don't want a big car, but at the same time you don't have a place to wrench on it, you don't want to go there. I often talk about in my youth when I first graduated, and even while I was still in high school, you could buy any number of entry-level vinyl seat cars or pickup trucks for $99 a month, and that was just, everyone had one, and usually they had too much stereo in them because we did something with that.
In the late 80s, you had like the base Civic Standard, you get the Ford Festiva,
the Tercel,
the Tercel Easy, the base Saturn SL, the
Plymouth
like,
Sundance,
the
or
Pontiac Le Mans, the Sundance,
the Duster, that no one aspired to own these cars, but it was a new, reliable
even the
vehicle.
Aspire.
Yeah, even the Aspire. It was a new vehicle, and it was something you didn't have to worry about when you were just starting out, or if you were in one of those financial positions. But now it's either forcing people. One of the things, the cheapest option might be leasing an EV, but if you live in a city, or if you're in a situation where you don't have covered or dedicated parking, that might be a bad plan. I don't know, maybe it's the popularity of rideshare, without turning this into a political argument. The fact that no one can live on minimum wage. When I first graduated high school, me and all my friends had minimum wage flunky jobs. We had apartments that we shared with somebody, at least one other, if not two other people, and not crime ridden, but questionable neighborhoods. We pulled our couches out of dumpsters, but you could afford to live on minimum wage jobs, which I don't think anyone would argue you can do that anymore. And maybe there's just not a market for these things. And they're automakers are happy because now they can force you into bigger, more expensive stuff that increases their profit margins.
I think that's the answer. I think it's got to be what it is that people they just assume that if they're going to sell, that's what they are going to make more money on, especially with how much things cost to make these days. I would think that would have a huge factor.
I think it has a lot to do with parts availability. If you're going to have to make a car, and you can put your semiconductors into something that's going to make you X dollars, or one that's going to make you X times $4, you're going to put it in the ones that make you X times $4.
I agree.
So, yeah.
Makes
sense.
I know. And I get it. Everything's changing. I'm a grumpy old man waving a fist at a cloud, but
yes, you are.
Yeah, it is the ending of an era, and a little sad on that one.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah, well, there's still, I was going to say used cars. They're still expensive, but you can try there. Anyway, after substantial backlash, F1 is backing down from its initial $1,500 person to capacity price for the Vegas venues overlooking the race course. Lydia Mee at Sports Illustrated reports that following negotiations, they reduced this figure. What was initially up to a $3 million price tag for some of the facilities, it has now been set at a flat rate of approximately $50,000 for each venue. In addition, any venue paying the fee will get access to a live feed for the event. Oh, how nice. You can't necessarily see where the window is all the way over there, and you might see a car go, but you can watch it on television. Good for you.
It's the live feed from the course. So it's not like you're not watching
like F1 TV.
The very excitable, oh my God, Perez is coming on the inside. He's on the inside. Oh my God, touch.
Having seen a race in live person and watching F1 TV at the same time, it's not bad to have both. So I feel like having F1 TV, you actually see what's happening all over the racetrack. But great. This doesn't feel better, really. But
$3 million to $50,000. That's quite a substantial discount.
Oh, sure. It's just not great still. So that's why it's all still stupid. Yeah.
Who knew Las Vegas would be a money grab?
Oh,
well, it's Las Vegas isn't the one grabbing the money. It's Liberty Media
yes,
and
right.
One. Las Vegas is like, hey, if anybody's going to fleece some people here, it's us.
Yeah.
Step off.
Yeah.
We're good at this. You are better.
Yeah. Naturally, we here at Everyone Races, we don't endorse auto theft or running from the police or high-speed shenanigans on pedestrian streets. We do endorse having a little bit of style. Jalopnik has some coverage of a recent chase in Los Angeles involving a newer Rolls-Royce Phantom. Lawrence Hodge tells us that the chase started just before lunch yesterday, if you're listening to this, today, for us, August 23rd, on the westbound 210 through Arcadia. And when the almost 19-foot luxury barge entered the LA city limits, the LAPD became involved. Now, the article link that we've got in the show notes has the video, but 2 minutes in, this would-be Bond villain manages to whip this thing into a parking garage and pulled a Kaiser Soze. Gone. Can't find him, evades the helicopter, evades the cops, disappears.
No.
Yes.
Depends on who that Rolls-Royce Phantom is registered to. And
what? It was stolen.
Yeah.
Because, if that car wasn't carjacked, I'm going to go, you've got a better chance of getting into a bank vault than stealing a new Rolls-Royce Phantom. So,
also, he's not very good at this.
Well, he's
very good. He's gone. Yeah.
I mean, I guess there's a helicopter watching him. They're watching his every move. He just went into
helicopters do that in LA. Like every time.
Oh, they're looking for it.
They're just love that stuff.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
When I worked in NORAD Northcom, that was a great portion because we had all of the news channels in there. A large portion of our day would be watching some live car chase.
Okay, so they're like this. They're used to this.
Oh yeah.
Remember OJ, Rodney King?
I mean, I know.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I'm watching the video. I'm trying to find out where he is.
It's a pretty car.
Sure. It's huge.
You know, it's a great car that they could steal otherwise.
It's
practically a steal right now.
It is.
It was when we left the keys in it, but it didn't
leave the keys
start.
in for like a week.
But it didn't start. So we were like, oh shit. But then we decided, right, but nobody could drive it away, even if you tried. So there's that.
I wish they could have. So, hey, anybody want a Corvette? My Corvette's finally for sale. It's on RacingJunk.com. It was easy to post the ad. I got to say, they make it easy.
How many pictures?
With our membership, you can have up to 50 pictures and one video. So I think I put 48 pictures, and the video I did was a cold start of the dash, showing, that absolutely cold and that the oil pressure built right up and stuff, and it started right up. So that was good. It was easy to drag and drop or upload the pictures, easy to copy and paste the text right in. Worked great. We're up to 885 views.
Super.
And
Somebody
nothing.
buy this freaking car.
Yep.
It's taking up a spot in our driveway. I would really
Right.
like it gone.
Yeah. I was waiting till it was clean and it was around and hoping someone would be interested. Not yet. I'm open to offers that don't involve like a broken Xbox
and a squirrel.
yeah.
We take
Taxidermy. Not okay.
Not no. Mm-mm. It'd be a lot of beer, so
Not really
probably
interested
not.
in trades. No.
Oh no. Miata maybe.
Trade for
but
cash.
Oh, I thought
Cash
you were
is a
gonna
good
say
trade.
cats.
No. We already have one of those.
We'll take cats.
We'll trade for cash. That's a good trade. Oh well.
But if you're watching this on YouTube, and the link, of course, it's also on all of our social medias. But this is a cool car. It comes with a great story.
Yes.
Original miles. This is a low mileage collector's car, man.
It has 46,000 miles, 2 owner. Yeah. It actually is a fun story. And I told you, like I said before, it's rad. It makes cool noises. It has a loud stereo. It makes you laugh when you drive it.
It cleaned
It's
up
not
very,
good,
very well.
but it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun in its own way.
It has overdrive.
But it
3 of them.
Oh,
so
yes,
we have to give a shout out to good old JG over at Grassroots Motorsports, because they shared this on their page as well. The you should buy this, and a link to that is in our show notes. And JG points out that, okay, in 1984, this was the hot setup. Now on the streets, a 5.0 Mustang would hassle this pretty effectively, but on the track, it was so dominant. The SCCA had to create a new class for it because it was crushing everything else in its class and showroom stock.
The Z51 package was actually legit. And like this car was in 1984, it came close to a G on the skid pad on tires of the day, which is pretty phenomenal. And every other year after 84, they softened the suspension because it was too much for the people that were buying Corvettes. So this is the stiffest suspension C4 Corvette.
It's too sporty.
Right.
And maybe that's the question that people always, they get upset about with the 84 Corvette. You're just not good enough for an 84 Corvette. If you think you are, here's a heck of a deal on one. Also, JG goes to point out that this is actually less than a Haggerty number 3 conditioned regularly optioned C4 should go for, much less a Doug Nash Z51 package. So
I think it's priced right. We just got to find the right buyer.
Yes. And as someone who has bought 2 cars from Chris and Chrissy, I'm telling you, you can't go wrong. You know where else you can't go wrong? Everything Chris just told you about. It was so easy to get that stuff up there. Bam. Now it's going out to almost 9 million people in their newsletter and on their various, media partnerships. So you should, if you're not interested in Corvette, you should at least be interested in a RacingJunk Pro membership.
Totally.
Yep. All right. Speaking of dominating in the SCCA, yes, there it is.
The Champ car is going to be at Thompson this weekend with a 12-hour race. 47 cars. That's plenty of room at Thompson with 47 cars. That's good. 8 are BMWs. That's boring, but not a tragic ratio. So that's okay.
I'm sorry. I believe that is supposed to be 15 Miatas. I may have misdone that.
A lot of Miatas, that 5 or 15, one or the other. One Honda.
Yeah, because what are all the rest of the cars?
Right. Yeah, it's true. 15 Miatas, no Porsches, and the remaining 6 cars are 2 Mustangs, including an SVO, a Camaro, a Vette, an RX-7, and a 300Z. So yeah, great. Have fun out there. Lots of room.
At least one of the BMWs is the Boston Winer. So,
well, there's one of them that's nicer than the others. One of them. Don't miss not seeing it sometimes.
Oh, now things that you are not going to, mock the entries on. Eric Rood even posted this on Facebook, talking about the recent rally results of the Rust Belt Ramble Lemons rally that we talked about last week. And
these are spectacular.
He straight up told us, or told everyone that would listen on the Facebooks, that the builds for the Rust Belt rally are better than what he's seeing on the racetrack. So basically he threw down a gauntlet. The first was the Lemons Little Yikes in a 1989 Barbie Me Whooper, which it looks like a Mini Cooper that they turned into a Jeep and something else. It's amazing. Check it out on their Facebook. Second on points was the Punch Raffle 1984 Mazda Whippoorwill Pool Noodle B2000. Every time they put this Mazda truck thing into a rally, they do something else to it. They just keep adding to it. And if you were looking at our screen, it's right there. It's pretty awesome.
It also has a flat tire in this picture.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they had to pull one of the tires off of their fake dual axle in the back.
Oh, I see that. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
They made it a cat bus.
Okay.
It's
That's
something.
a lot. That's a
for
lot.
sure.
Okay. Third place on points was the Triumph by Error in a 76 Chevy Corvette on a TR3 chassis.
That makes perfect sense.
Sure. Yes. Yes. Let's do
Yep.
that. Org choice went to Tis But a Scratch in a 69 Chrysler Newport.
That has both doors on the passenger side really heavily caved in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
fine. I'm sure it
Yep.
closes well and doesn't have any airflow through
You-
that at all.
You should have seen the other car. That's a 69 Newport, right? Wow.
Exactly. Yeah.
Smushed.
Yeah. Random acts of stupidity went to our friends at Cheese Bolt Enterprises, and this time they were not in a Taurus MT5. They were the German salesman feeling salty in an 99 Mercedes E300 diesel. Judge's choice was a Delta Tau Chai in a Ford Granada. It was an Animal House Eat Me birthday cake. Rental car class, Escudo Sim. It was a Ford Edge, so not that great. 63,000 rental miles. Oh my.
Wow.
And 3 different kinds of tires on it.
Wow. That's pretty
That's
amazing.
extra points for how many different kinds of tires can you get on your high mileage rental car.
Wow. Wow.
So if you don't want to buy one of these pieces of crap, but you're still interested in doing a Lemons rally, and by the way, you totally should be because they're a hoot, you can just rent something sketchy.
Yep,
It's kind of
absolutely.
amazing.
And speaking of sketchy, happy honeymoon to Rally Master Jeff Stobbs and his lovely bride. Great, sucker. That's her,
Right?
not him, right?
Yeah. Jeff knows.
Yeah.
She's an actual doctor too. It's amazing.
Wow.
That's
Mhm.
awesome. This is listener feedback time.
All right. On our YouTube, the Bisquick just posted, quote, "It's a nipple linked issue." And before your minds get all dirty and guttery, they're referring to the cool shirt issue that Chris and Chrissy mentioned in the race wrap up Thompson, which is our last episode. And partially also because Chrissy was getting carbon monoxide poisoning. But they added, "We just filed down our fast shirt to cool shirt linked and we're able to use it with both systems, or just make an adapter with fast connectors on one side and cool on the other." Squid Rope 8659 agreed. And we thank you all for that input. We really do. But
That's not it
It's
in
not
any
it.
way, shape, or form.
Nope.
Nope. We have the correct female ends on the lines that do fit both cool and fast brand shirts and others. We have used them all very successfully in the past with the exact same setup. The problem is something to do with the pump at pressurizing the system and the system not flowing appropriately, because it works fine on my shirt still. And it worked last year, and actually earlier this year, it worked perfectly fine in the cool shirt with 0 problems. So
I've
this
had
is
the same
this is
shirt
n-
since we started racing.
Right. Yeah.
Like-
So,
Like
and we've had the
5-6 years, maybe
we've had the same cool box setup for
for 2 or
this is
3.
our 3rd year with this
Uh-huh.
setup with the
Yep.
hot swappable coolers.
Yep.
Which works wonderfully. So it's not the fittings. It's
not.
something in the cool shirt brand shirts is creating so much enough pressure that the pressure switch in the pump is stopping pumping.
Yep.
It thinks, oh, I am up to pressure. Thank you. So
And it starts when it's in my shirt, because I have let the liquid out of the shirt, as you do when you are standing around before you put it away. And I have shot the water like a water gun out the side of my shirt. So it is definitely a pressurized, like it's pressurized in my shirt. So, yep. Okay. Thanks, though. Thanks for thinking of us. At It's Probably Fine says, I had a coworker that was notoriously cheap, so obviously he bought a new Mirage. To take care of his new car, he got a deal on an annual pass to an automated car wash. Over the course of the year, he took the Mirage through the automated car wash so often he started to wash the paint off of it. Moral of the story, automated car washes are horrible for your car's paint. Deeper moral, never buy a Mirage. Good stuff. Thank you.
Yep. And while I was working on fixing the exhaust on the Mazda, we posted a what you're working on. And John F said he was doing a head gasket and a motor rebuild. Oof. All right.
Yep. Adam N said, keeping my mad shitbox driving skills sharp, wheeling a Kia Picanto around Spain like a Group B rally with the ever patient Mrs. N.
Michael K told us, quote, picking this up tomorrow. Now, what this is a Crown Vic, a P code Crown Vic from the Village of Golf. And as you know, only Mike would say, the mayor, before they decommissioned this police car, had a sense of humor, and they only took the badge and the LF off. So he now has a P code white police car that says Village of Go, which is rather funny. And because he's Mike K, he's actually not going to race this one. I think he's planning on daily driving it for a while.
Okay. As you do.
Poorly done, Michael.
Right? Andrew L was putting a roof on his new garage. Joseph K was at Grid Life Shenanigans at Lime Rock. And Eric J is loving his brand new, beautiful puppy.
Seriously, he's like a new father.
It's new puppy day. It's new puppy day.
It's so but it's so cute.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's
fair,
a yellow lab.
Yeah, the Hill Lab pups are adorable. There's no way around it. Bill F said he was pulling 2 engines, maybe even putting one back in. Hopefully, I would like to see pictures of Bill actually doing this work. I think Bill was supervising and handing tools and things. Corey was mounting a radiator into the Cheapmobile, and Dean just wrapped up the Porsche for Buttonwell. It's gonna be lit.
Yeah,
Al Jones was canning tomatoes and jalapenos because he's a badass car guy that also appreciates organic gardening.
Hell yeah. I'll take some of those canned jalapenos. I'm down. Brian M said, quote, we are doing exhaust repairs at the Hack Factory as well. Yes, that's an OSHA approved shoe for shoe to floor holding device, which was really him standing on a piece of thing in a pair of flip-flops. Not sure if what we did will solve the problem. That's okay. It's probably fine.
We get that. Wally P found out that painting a whole car in truck bed coating kind of sucks.
Tyler was doing a cage still. I think this is what, year 2 on that cage, Tyler, at this point. I said, I think there's some dirty muddle under the spreader that I didn't clean enough and it's just refusing to weld in. I've reground and rewelded a dozen times and it still looks like Swiss cheese. I don't know if you've tried any kind of backing behind it. That helps, like a copper backing plate. Gives you something to help when you've got holes like that. Turn the heat down a little bit, go slow, keep the heat under control, and you can fill those holes in very gradually. It's tedious, but it works.
Vicky was working on the BMW drive shaft exhaust system install and a defogger kit on a replacement windshield, and on their Honda Fit install on the new starter for the hubby strip to Mid-Ohio.
Ashley Doyle or Ashley D just finished replacing the sprayer on the kitchen sink. Nice job.
And on the Insta, Carlman 257 dusted off of the old RX-8 Volvo engine, swapped, custom ECU, custom wiring, custom everything else project that has been sitting for 2 years, and wired the radiator fans one less step before domination.
Nice to see that get some action again, Carlton. Yeah. Excellent.
I do have a listener feedback that I did not put in there. So we talked about our most recent iTunes review, and the listener actually, because you can text me at 484.
Oh,
yeah.
919-8985.
Yeah, there it is. And he actually, and I still owe him a package. So Tim said, he said it was me. And I said, thank you so much. Absolutely. I didn't say anything that was true. You guys have gotten me through a lot of long days at work. I'm actually about halfway through my second round of listening. So he's now, it's like watching Community.
Oh no, you're watching through again.
Oh no.
Oh
Sorry.
no.
Yes. So
Uh,
I've got to get him some stickers and some swag.
Do you have
for-
enough swag, or do we need to supplement with the
No,
stuff we
I
have?
actually no, I've
Oh.
been good about not throwing swag at everyone.
You
so.
just give
Because
it
you're
to
gonna give it to
everybody.
like the lady and the bus and the waitress and the coffee place. You're like, here's a koozie. Like they're like, thanks.
Cool. I can put this under my seat.
You know who does appreciate the swag that she gets from us?
Heck yeah.
Very nice.
Chrissy's mom.
All the whole fam runs a E1R sticker on their car. That's how you know. You're like, oh, that 5. Is that my mom? Oh, there's my sticker. Got it.
So didn't a family member have a birthday today?
Yes, my brother-in-law has a birthday today,
Yes.
and they are out to dinner. And my
Excellent.
parents are watching the children's. Oh, I watched
Nice.
children's this weekend too. Yeah. Yep.
I also got to have dinner with Dishwashing Fairy and his lovely bride. He is now living the
Oh.
life of a carefree driving instructor, and he is between weekend gigs, and he didn't want to go all the way back to the
Oh.
East Coast. So they came down from Portland, hung out here for a few days, and they're headed up to Utah tomorrow or
Wow.
today by the time you're listening to this.
That's a lot.
And then,
Why not?
and he'll see Tyler at Road America.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
coming up.
Bringing the Cressy. That's why Tyler's kind of in a rush. He's trying to get that car done.
Well, you better hurry because soon it's my time.
And
So we have a
and-
lot of things we like
We
to
do.
think about for the show. Some topics we struggle with. Some ones are easy. Some go multiple episodes. Some only go just past Chrissy's bedtime. Some we gotta stretch and beef up a little bit. And some are just not meaty enough for a whole show. So we're gonna put a few of those together.
So
I'm gonna
just
start off
hot
with a
takes.
tire. It is short take grab bag. Here we go. I'm gonna start off with a tire review. Chrissy's gonna do a fun safety game. And Mental, what are you doing?
I've got two things. We'll talk about the Porsche that I've been living with, the 993, and then also just some items that recently became available to make your trackside experience more enjoyable.
Fantastic. Okay. Let's talk about tires. Tires are really important. They're the only thing connecting your car to the racetrack. They can completely make or break your weekend. They can make you fast or slow or dangerous or not move at all. And way back when Lemon started, they said, all right, I know how we're going to keep people slow. We'll limit it to 200 tread wear tires. And at the time, there weren't a whole lot of those. And the real sticky ones were like the RA1s and things like that in the under 100 range. And so people ran the 200 tread wears. We all remember the wonderful days of the Dereza Z1 Star Spec. That was like the default tire.
That was
Actually
the
worked
tire,
pretty well.
man.
Right.
Yeah.
So over time, though, other racing sanctioning bodies have adopted the 200 tread wear spec. All of the other, low dollar endurance racing series, they had either 200 or 180. And then notably, SCCA picked up 200 tread wear as the basis for their street tire classes. And suddenly now there were a lot of 200 tread wear tires coming out. Some of them were exactly the same as they were when they were 140 tread wear, and they just rebranded them to 200 tread wear. I'm looking at you, Toyo. And they didn't make any changes because that is kind of a semi-arbitrary number that tire companies get to make up. So now we're at a point where there's a whole lot of 200 tread wear tires. There's probably 15 different ones that you could buy at any given time. The problem becomes some of them are autocross specials. They are designed to grip hard and fast and not get run for very long and have to get cooled between runs like the Hoosiers used to have to. Remember those? And other ones are designed to last and work for a long time. So you have to kind of figure out when you're looking at these different tires that you can get, which ones are the kind they're going to hold up to the kind of abuse we're putting them up to on track, and which ones are really autocross specials. For example, things like the Yokohama AO52, which people have worn out in half of a day in Lemons repeatedly. Like they're fast very briefly. I think it's safe to say the tires you're going to see most often in Lemons these days are the Hankook RS4. That is what our standard has been for a long time. And the Falcon Azenis 615K Plus, which has been around forever and a day, going through several different compound changes and whatnot. But those both have proven to hold up really well. They're reasonably priced. The RS4 is definitely our go-to tire and has been for years. They put up to a ton of abuse and keep coming back. Mental.
I have noticed, and several other people have said that the RS4s don't like heavy cars. Like the Honda, don't even worry about it. The Mazda, that kind of thing. But some folks that are running some bigger cars, it might be a heat range thing. I don't know.
Yeah, so it's definitely a lot of it's heat, but I've also seen people, for example, our friend Jim with the Cordoba, he was running, BFG Sport Comp 2s, which is 300 treadwears. He went to the RS4s and said it was like night and day. And they held up a lot better, actually. And they were, you can see they're pushing that Doba these days. So
they are
especially one more than the other. We were
Yeah.
watching when we were watching the two of them.
Absolutely. So that's it. It's all about the heat management. Some of the tires are going to be fine with heat. Some of them are not. Some of them are going to lose the grip with the heat. Some of them are going to wear faster and whatnot. So anyway, the RS4 is kind of the benchmark, that and the Falcon. So there was another tire that came out that was interesting to us. This is the Continental Extreme Contact Force. This is not the Extreme Contact Sport or DWS. This is the ECF. This is actually co-developed with Hoosier, which is somehow corporately in bed with Continental, and they ended up branding it as a Continental. From Andy Hollis's tire test, which he does for GRM, which if you have never seen Andy Hollis's tire test, they are the gold standard of tires for the kind of stuff we do. Go find them and read it. He is listing out, he's tested basically everything, both on track and in autocross, and he gives them all grades for heat management and grip and times. It's wonderful stuff. So Andy's opinion of the Continentals was, and actually, in the way Continental markets them, is that this is a longer wearing endurance tire, not an autocross special. You're not going to see these on the real fast street Miatas and Camaros and KMC on an autocross course, but they're targeted at people like us. So I was looking at them and I said, these are a little more expensive. These are like 25% more expensive than the RS4. I'm going to stick with the RS4. And then it was Black Friday this past fall, and TrackDayTire.com had a Black Friday sale, 25% off, which made the price the same. So I said, we're going to give it a shot. So I ordered up some 245 4017 ECF for the Mazda, and didn't get them on because we didn't really need them until this past race at Thompson. So I actually have some impressions now to talk about it. So initially, it looks like many of the other tires in this size. It looks a lot like the RE71Rs and the tread compound and the tread design. It doesn't have as much void as some of the others, and Continental is known for having a good amount of void. It makes their tires really good in the rain. This one doesn't have as much. Big center rib. Jeff loves those. Loves it when it's ribbed. They've got for size, it's a 245, and it looks a little bit wider than the 245 Hankooks we had on before. It is a meaty 245. Still fits under the Mazda's fenders, which is great. Available in all the usual sizes, even for down to 205, 50, 15, 225, 245. The usual 17-inch sizes, like we have, and up into 18s and 19s even. So good choices for the kind of cars we're going to be running. Price is a bit more than the Hankooks, though, so that's a problem. So we went out and tested them on testing day, and started off with pressures that I would run typically in the Hankooks. I went a little bit higher because Hankooks like a little lower pressure. They're usually around 35 hot. These, we found we were rolling the sidewalls over a little more than expected, and had to put, I think, 38 hot in them to get the sidewall to stop rolling over quite as much. And we did this also with tire temperature probe pyrometers. The center wasn't too hot. It was warmer on the inside than anything else, just slightly. So we're pretty comfortable with that as a hot pressure. So they take a little more pressure than the Hankooks. Yes,
Can you do a 30-second reminder of trying to get those temperatures of what you, I mean,
Sure.
I was there, but how do you make that assessment
Yep.
that if you can get the pyrometer, how do I figure that out?
Yeah, so you get a probe pyrometer, which has a little pin that sticks into your tire to get the temperature, not just on the surface, but in the core a little bit, because in the time it takes you to drive down pit lane, the surface temperature has changed. So you come in from doing good, solid, hot laps and come right into the pits and stop as close as you can to, in a safe place. Have people ready, someone with the pyrometer and someone else with a pen and paper, and write down your pressures on the, per corner on the inside of the tire, in the middle of the tire, and on the outside rib of the tire. And by doing that, you can tell what the shape of the tire is and how well it's supported, and what the tire pressure and suspension are doing, basically for how hard the tire is working. Where is it working hard? If it's overinflated, for example, the center is going to be a high number. If it's underinflated, both the outsides will be. If there's, if not enough camber and you're just beating the shoulder up the outside of the tire, it's going to have the highest number, for example. So is that adequate as a 30-second explanation, Chrissy?
Yes. And it's just more of then when
We
we
did a
get,
whole show on this one time. So
I know, but you were talking about it. I was just,
Yep.
okay. I know how to, I know how to
Oh,
do it.
you're
I'm
absolutely
just
right.
wondering how do you assess? I'm the person taking the probes. I know how to do it.
Yeah, I know.
How do you make the assessment of it needed more temperature? That was what I was trying to think of.
And that's great. Thank you for reminding me to do that. But hey, go back to the old show where we talked about using a tire pyrometer and how to do that. It's this and setup and all that. Anyway, so we ran it all weekend and it was wearing very well. There's a little more shoulder wear than I'd probably see on the Hankook, but they are holding up nicely. And that is for we were off track for a couple hours on Saturday, but still for running a good solid 11, 12 hours in the weekend, they're holding up well. So I'll give it a good job on the wear. On track performance, the grip was very good. It was predictable. It was easy to get to. But you can get them too hot and they get greasy, and it's noticeable. They kind of fall off a little bit of a cliff when they get too greasy. Give them a lap off, they come right back. And when I say lap off, I mean just back off a couple tenths. Don't go slow. You're not taking really a lap off, but back off a little bit, lose any slip angle you had. They come right back and then get back to a level of decent grip. But I was surprised when I was pushing for a couple laps, like coming around the bowl, for example, I was understeering pretty hard, and like there was nothing else. It had nothing else left to give. So that is something to take into consideration especially if you're running a summertime race, is that their heat tolerance really isn't quite the same as the RS4s. So some other comparisons to the RS4s, we had them on the car on a Friday morning, did the heat cycles before taking them off. And then after we took them off, I put a set of used RS4s in a little different size. There were 225, 40, 18 on the car. And those tires had been through 2 races before. I was slower on the RS4s, but only like 3/4 of a second. It wasn't tragic considering the age and the fact that the RS4s were narrower. So I would say speed is comparable to the RS4, maybe slightly faster. Heat tolerance a little worse than the RS4. Pressure needs to be higher. But I think this is a perfectly fine alternative, and in general would recommend for your needs going forward.
Outstanding.
Great.
Yeah, this is real consumer advice we're doing here.
Wow.
135 that we did the tire.
Oh, he was searching.
Pyrometers and
Oh, it was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was like I want to say middle of the pandemic.
When we were stretched for topics. Let's talk about tire pressures. Wow.
Trying to give people something to look forward to. Yeah, so
sure.
135. Great.
Yes.
I don't think we were doing the YouTube with that. Were we doing the YouTube?
Yeah, we know. No, yeah, absolutely. It's
so you're
going
gonna
to
you're gonna put a link there in the doodly okay, good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. One of us is it's gonna be over. Yeah, there'll be a link.
Somebody's head. Great. Well, that's my short take.
Is that
tires?
It?
Yeah. So like if I had to buy them again tomorrow, I would probably mostly shop on price between the two and availability. Like I consider them both good choices.
it was interesting because one of when they marketed that tire, it was the become a media partner and get your own discount code, and it was a bit multi-level markety kind of a deal. And I know some of the enthusiast Facebook groups I'm on, the admin said, if one more person puts their damn Continental discount code up on here, I'm shutting the entire site down. So there were people that were just spamming everyone trying to get people to buy tires on their discount code.
Yeah, I think that was some of the distributors that are doing that.
Yeah, but they were doing media partners with because I think actually we applied, and oddly enough, we didn't get approved. I don't know what that's about, but we've been to SEMA, so whatever their Avon person that races cars. Do you want me to go first and then we go to your thing? Because I feel like your thing is going to be way better.
I don't know, but we can, sure.
Yours seems like a fun wrap-up game, Chrissy.
Sounds great.
All right.
Okay. So, we're talking about tires and racing and a lot of hot things. And what is one of the more enduring trends in entry-level endurance racing? It's hot tubs, of course.
Yeah, it is.
Now you've got them on both coasts. They're on trailers. They're mobile. They're going everywhere. And lucky for you, listener, Amazon has a sale right now on their Coleman inflatable hot tub. And by the way, we are not actually Amazon affiliates, so we're not making a dime off of this. But
we just want you to have a hot tub.
This is the hot tub we started with, starting the hot tub at the racetrack trend. At this point, it's like 10 years ago that it was. And this first original Coleman, it was called the Lazy Spa or something like that. Then it lasted like 9 years of races. It was amazing how that thing held up.
And that's drunken racetrack abuse. That's not just 9 years of use. This one is legitimately impressive. So even if you don't want one at the racetrack, you can throw this on your back deck. But it's a inflatable, 140, fits up to 4 people.
Fits 9 if they're friendly.
If you're drunk.
Yeah, it depends. It depends on if you don't want to touch people a lot.
4 is about right. Yeah.
4 is okay. It could be more.
But this thing was originally $500, and now they've got a short sale right now. $650 is the list priced on this one, and right now they've got it for $283.
That's shipped. So, yep.
Yeah. So
except it can't be shipped to Mental, but it can be shipped to our house. So I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't make it. Or like a couple other places.
Yeah, Tim couldn't ship it to California or Maine either when he looked today. I don't know. Shipping is restricted on this because it's kind of heavy. But if you're anywhere near us and you need to ship it to our house, we'll bring it to Connecticut. We'll bring it to New Hampshire for you. Let me know.
There you go.
Sure.
Yeah. And or you can get a very good used one for $271. I know this. This feels like a fun way to waste a couple $100.
Oh yeah.
You get your NFL coming up, grab this, throw it on your back deck, put the TV outside, bam, watch yourself some football.
We used to get so many fun looks when we bring these to like AER or NASA and stuff like that.
Yeah.
People didn't quite know what to make of us. And Lemons, it's just like, okay, yeah, the hot tub's out. Got it.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Every once in a while, people still do walk through and they're just like, oh my gosh, that you brought that? We're like, yeah.
Yeah.
You must be new here.
Yeah, and I will say that hot tub has actually been fantastic on a couple of times. Like if some of those grueling, like no kidding, bad let it out races, climbing the hot tub, I'm like, okay, I actually did need this. This feels nice.
I prefer to get in when it's still cold. Well, that was Thompson. And clean.
Before it's man soup.
It gets to be man soup. And then it gets to be disgusting.
Yeah. Well, and then it becomes the double-ended dong washer.
Pretty much.
Yep.
Which has been on the ground a lot. Okay. Hot tub.
Hot tub. Link will be in the show notes. Grab yourself a hot tub. Have a great Christmas party. Halloween's coming. I don't know. Do something with a hot tub.
What else do you have, Mental?
So you guys were bringing this up. I have now been living, enduring, suffering, if you will, through daily ownership of a 58,000 mile Porsche 993. And the usability review on this car, obviously driving it down from Oakland, California was a blast, winding on the roads. I talked briefly about, getting back into my Miata, which when the hurricane came, I made sure that the Porsche was in the garage, and on Monday drove my Miata, through the completely dry streets of my unflooded city. And then I'm back in the Porsche again. So can you live with one of these cars if you have the means to afford one? Can you live with a vintage air-cooled Porsche every day in the desert? I'm happy to say yes. It is a perfectly usable car. Actually, it's in some ways a little more usable than the Miata because I can put more stuff in the front. And it has an area with things that look like back seats, but only smaller, that you can fold down and put some stuff into that. So you can actually fit groceries in this car. It's comfortable. It's competent. It sits easy in traffic. The 993s have air conditioners that work as opposed to the 964s and the G50s and those. It's just a really good, competent car, lightweight clutch, even though it's still the famous Porsche floor hinge on these cars. Light transmission, don't have to get it on there. I've noticed a bit of deference in this one, and maybe it's also because it's a few years down the road as opposed to my 996. My 996 was, up years, you think you're better than me, but the 993, I get a lot of thumbs up. I get a lot of people waving. It's I did have a guy in an SRT 8 Jeep Cherokee try to entice me into a race today.
I'm sure you did.
Dude, this car's 38 years old. I'm not racing you in a Trailhawk. You're going to
Your
crush
math isn't
me.
so good.
Or, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. 28-year-old car. You're going to crush me. I'm not racing a Trailhawk, and I'm also not doing this stuff on the street. It's
not your
really
car
car.
too.
You're
That
in
helps.
AMG.
It's not my
You
car.
might have.
Oh, the
thought about it.
AMG, I would have crushed him. I would have, I would have made them rethink every one of their life choices, and done so in an air-conditioned seat. But also the AMG taunts you as a driver. The
What
AMG
kind of fuel
taunts you,
economy
the
were you
Porsche
getting in
doesn't.
your trip and around town?
So far around town, I'm averaging high teens, low 20s, and on the
worst.
trip, high 20s. And if I could keep it at a consistent speed for where I didn't have to shift a lot, which I deliberately took roads where I had to, because why would you not?
Yeah.
I think you could probably settle into over 30 miles per gallon on the freeway.
Really surprised. Like,
Yeah.
I'm never seeing over 25 on the highway, but around town it's like 23. So
On which one?
NSX.
Oh, the end. Yeah. Okay. So, it's just, it's geared to do that. It doesn't hate city driving. It's obviously not what it was meant to do. Sort of a deal.
Any oil consumption during your time with it? Have you checked that?
None. And I'm a bit obsessive about it. The gauges on the 993 are interesting. Once the system is running, and it's 10.5 quarts of Mobil 1. So, because it's got 2 coolers and a bunch of lines that run through it, and Porsches are oil cooled. But once you're driving, the oil level gauge drops to nothing. Which
you found out scarily, quickly.
freaks you out when you're driving, when you're in the middle of, I don't know, like Yosemite Park, and it's not your Porsche. But I did notice, the temperature and the pressure gauge were the same. And I'm like, making sure I wasn't rationalizing, well, would I have temperature if I had no oil? No. And I definitely wouldn't have, or I would have excessive temperatures because it would be measuring air of a burning up engine, and I would have no pressure because there was no oil.
These are all the games that you're playing and asking yourself.
Oh yeah.
And I still pulled over and checked it. The dipstick is,
as you should.
Is 3.5 feet long. It's pretty impressive, but I checked it. And then the owner sent me a listing of, from the owner's manual, this is actually how these gauges work once you're in motion, which is, it's interesting they do that. Sitting at a stoplight, it settles back into a normal measure. But yeah, it's so good. I'm seriously starting to structure getting rid of projects and paring down. I don't think I'm ever going to be able to afford a 993, but there are 964s out there in resale red, very plain Jane,
that are somehow more money. I don't understand that.
Now for the mileage on this 993, I'm not seeing the 964s in that price range. I'm seeing some high mileage 964s, sub hundreds, even some of them in the 50, 60 range, especially if you're looking at a Targa or a Cabrio, because those tend to not bring as much money.
Yeah.
And I'm actually, in my old age, I'm becoming more comfortable with the idea of just driving around in a convertible Porsche. I don't care. They're just good. They're fun cars. They're good to drive.
Or
Yep.
until you have to work on them and fix it.
Yeah, we talked to our friend Eric, DJ914, because he has great and vast knowledge of Porsches.
Correct.
And I think his biggest beef with working on them, there is the parts of some of the prices, but he does a lot of his own work. His biggest problem is he's involved in a lot of things, and he's a great parent, and he loves to go racing. He just doesn't have a lot of time.
But he also does the work, and you are not always great at follow through.
No, yeah, no. In fact, I'm always not great at follow through.
Okay, I'm trying to be nice about this. So just
Yes,
a little
but,
concerned about that.
But I also being in with the Porsche crowd here, there's any
Get somebody else to fix your car. Good.
There's
good,
any
good
number
plan.
of outstanding,
Super.
reputable. There's the 900 series, which has its own YouTube channel, God and Porsche here in town, and so there. And for the life of me, Trophy Performance is they do a lot of the prep for the racers, but they also have regular day-to-day stuff, and they're all capable, competent, reasonably priced if you don't compare them to getting a Toyota repaired. Porsche shops, and they all know each other, and they all know their specialties. It's yeah. So
all right. So in general,
in the words of Ferris Bueller,
advice.
Yeah, in the words of Ferris Bueller, if you have the means, I do recommend it. It is so choice.
Okay.
All right, Chrissy, you have prepared for us, you still can't hear my buzzer, can you?
No.
Damn it. All right. I am so disappointed right now. What if I put my hand? No.
Nothing.
No.
Damn it.
That's Chris, not mental.
Damn it. So yeah, I have two great bribes that I've gotten from Lemons. One is the infamous dick ass buzzer, and it's making noise. I can hear it right now, but my co-host can't hear this in the microphone.
We can hear like a bit.
We can. I think we can hear.
Make out that it says dick ass. Unfortunately,
I think we can hear it when you talk, because it it's when you're talking.
Okay.
It.
All right.
Like yeah. Zoom's
I wonder if I go.
filters, sound filters are good.
Yeah. Okay. That's fine. That's your buzzer. Okay. So I went through. This is the OSHA safety showdown is what we're doing here. I picked out a bunch of questions.
OSHA safety showdown.
Yeah, that's what we're doing here. Because I was just deeply involved with OSHA. I picked out a bunch of questions. So typically in the course, I did all mine online. Just about all of the quizzes and anything that was graded was multiple choice. That's not great for this format. So some of them are open-ended, some of them are true or false. So I've kind of varied it. An open-ended, I have some options for you if you both are very stuck. But I have a bunch of questions. I didn't even count how many I have. Most of them, some of them you'll get. It's hard to find questions that I think Chris won't. Well, maybe both of you won't actually get. And I was trying not to go super vague or things that you just have no idea about, because I have a couple topics that I was learning about that I was like, I will never need to know this. If I need to know it, no. And I was writing up a thing later, but I was like, if I need to know this, I'm just Googling it, because I'm like, I'm never going to remember all this stuff. Anyway. Okay. Let's get started. Are you guys ready? Chris has a buzzer that says no.
No.
Right. Mental is just good. It's just going to make his own.
I'm going to push the button every time.
Okay, fine. We just can't hear it.
I'm
okay. We are going to start out with a question. What does OSHA stand for?
Yeah.
Okay.
The
Mental.
Occupational Safety and Health Association.
Incorrect.
Administration.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You were incorrect. Chris.
Occupational Safety and Health Administration.
Administration. Ding. Chris got it. Okay.
Yay.
Okay.
What is
Okay.
the yeah? Form of the question.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't make it answer that quickly. I'm not keeping track if anybody wants to keep track or of who's actually winning, or we don't care. Okay. OSHA's mission is to.
No.
Okay. See what you get.
Improve workplace safety in the U.S.
I'll take it since it was open-ended and it was the general idea is to protect the safety and health of American workers. So the other options were general public, people that receive federal minimum wage. So I feel like your answer is pretty close on that one. Okay. This is true or false. So get ready. The safety manager should be solely responsible for conducting all accident investigations. Go ahead.
False.
That's correct. It is false. Many people
Safety
think
is
that
everyone's responsibility.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Many people think that it is my job to do all of this stuff because I am the safety manager, but I do not. It is everybody's job, and there's multiple people in an investigation should be involved. Okay, I have a multiple choice. The effects of electricity on the human body depend on all the following except the current, path, duration, or body weight.
Yeah.
Yep, go ahead.
Body weight.
Correct. 50% of permit required confined space fatalities would be rescuers.
What, true or false?
True or false?
No.
False.
Incorrect. It is true.
Can
When
give
you
me
were
a
going
chance to answer that one.
no, because that's the answer. It's too easy after that. Yeah, confined space, and you have to be in like hazmat gear, and like you have to have your respirators, and oftentimes people, if you're not doing it right, then you die. Okay. Fall protect. This is a well, I have numbers, but we'll see if you guys get the number. Fall prevention handrails must be capable of supporting how many pounds of force? Do you want multiple choice?
Yes.
150, 200, 250, or 300 pounds. All right, Mental, go ahead.
300.
Nope.
N-O.
Go ahead.
250.
You're both wrong. It's 200 pounds of force.
Okay.
Okay. True or false? Falls are the leading cause of construction workplace fatalities. True or false?
No.
Yes.
I'm going to say true.
You are correct.
Yeah. Of fatalities, if it was injuries, definitely not, but fatalities, I can see that.
That's
Absolutely.
where I was wrapping. I was going down that path. You got there a lot faster.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to give you multiple choice on this one. Ladder related injuries and fatalities. A, seldom happen. B, happen only when climbing or accessing a roof. C, happen when a ladder is 1 foot from a power line. Or D, happens only on very tall ladders.
No.
Go ahead, Chris.
A, because the other ones are terrible.
No, incorrect.
I'm going to say then the 1 foot of the roof. Or the working on it, or is that A? I'm sorry.
So nope. A is seldom happen. B happens when.
Then I'm going to go with the B, the roof answer.
You're both incorrect. It happens when a ladder is close to a power line.
That is
Okay.
fascinating.
Yep. Okay. Okay. Multiple choice here. When may guards be removed from power equipment? This is a good one. A, when proper
Immediately when you buy it.
That's why I put this one in here. A, when proper PPE is used. B, when something's stuck in it. C, when equipment is off and locked out. D, all of the above.
Yeah.
Yep, Mental.
C.
C is correct.
Yeah.
All of the above is what we do. I hope my boss doesn't listen to this. Okay, this is the last question. I'm making sure that I have the answer.
Incidentally, while she's gathering that up, Chris, we're tied 3-3. So
Oh, you've been
Oh,
keeping
no.
track.
this one's for the
Okay.
win.
No.
I think I'm just okay, I think I know this answer, but I don't know. So
Well, it'll be dealer's choice then. Okay.
okay, great. Ground fault circuit interrupters, GFCIs, are required by the National Electric Code A in when there are wet conditions, B on all temporary power circuits, C on portable generators over 5,000 watts, or D all of the above.
No.
Yeah.
No.
D.
D, I think, is probably correct.
Because I know it's in wet locations. I know it's on generators. So it's more than one. So I'm guessing it's D.
I guess it's D. That's what I
The last time. No.
Yep. No. Okay. So that was obviously not all of the things I learned about from my OSHA testing. Thank you for playing. I appreciate it. Hopefully,
I'm surprised how much I know about safety after flying on an airplane.
I mean, these are not the hard ones because I had a whole lot of hard ones. So this is my safety sermon about OSHA. So OSHA doesn't give that many rules. It's just mostly guidelines. So most people think that OSHA says you must do this and do this and do this, and it's like really not really. There's absolutely some numbers, like exact measurements for scaffolding. If I ever have to deal with scaffolding, I am just going to read the manual because there are so many exactly where scaffolding is supposed to be. Also, like how to measure how much toxic fumes of certain chemicals are allowed for a given time period and place. Also, don't know it, and I'm happy to know. There are some things that I did know. All good. There are plenty of things that I learned, and there's more than I will ever need to know about hexavalent chromium. It took me 3 times the amount of time that I should have. I was failing all over the place because I'm just like, why does OSHA think that I need to know hexavalent chromium and where it's found and what it's used for and all the different kinds? And I was like,
What is it used for?
For there's like, it actually showed me a picture of a car. It's mostly mixed in paint. But they showed me a picture of a car and said, where is hexavalent chromium in this? And it was basically everywhere. It was in the tires. It was in the windshield. It was in the paint. It was in the, it was all over the place. So I didn't know that.
Hexavalent
And
chromium, the silent
yeah.
killer.
And of course I was, it actually kind of is. But I was like, I don't have to deal with that. Thankfully. And if I do and ever need to, I'm just going to look it up. Same thing with lead. I knew a little bit more about lead, but I didn't know anything about hexavalent chromium, and it almost killed me. That's funny. It didn't kill me, actually. Yes.
Watch out for your dihydrogen monoxide.
The top.
Dihydrogen monoxide is one of the biggest killers in the world. Thousands of people die every day from hydrogen oxide.
Okay. Yes. So I am now moving on to my research on RACRA, which is how to dispose of waste. I'm my HAZWOPER of what to do with RACRA. It's not that fun. That's kind of what it's how to dispose of waste. And then HAZWOPER, which is how to deal in hazmat situations. So
where's a HAZWOPER?
I seriously, HAZWOPER, that
Literally.
looks like something that you would pull out of the original Willy Wonka with
Is not.
Gene Wilder.
It is,
or have with a 40.
it is not any of those things. It is how to be.
Yeah, man. Let me get a 40 of
the HAZWOPER.
40 and a HAZWOPER.
Yeah.
Which we
was
whatever
545.
It's 545, and we also stood in the beer section and tried to figure out how we could get we can't do a 545.
Inflation has ruined Pueblo's time.
He's gonna be like, I can get one or the other. That's about it now. Like you can't get both. Anyway, so I learned a lot about OSHA. Happy it's done. I'm sure I'm going to do a research on it sometime, but now I know everything about safety, and I just have to make people to think about it too.
Fantastic.
Yep. Thanks for playing.
I can HAZWOPER. All right, cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's so bad. That's the thing, is like, it's not funny subject.
It's funny.
Funny.
By the way, folks, if you're coming to Houston in November and you're wondering what would be a good theme? They just handed you one right there. Haswhopper. Show up with a Haswhopper theme
Sure.
And a 40.
and a 40.
All the above.
Yep. Whopper to 40.
Yes.
All right. Well, great. That was fun. Thanks for playing along, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
So now to wrap it up, we've got an on-the-spot answer from last week.
Why is it
So
an on-the-spot answer? We're not picking the answer.
This is a circle back from the on-the-spot because, what's the right answer on the on-the-spot? Last week, Bill had an on-the-spot for us. What is the car that Vicky should get? If you remember the qualifications, it was manual transmission, fun to drive, enough room for people in a back seat when needed, potentially good enough on HPDE, and modestly not cheap, but a little more than the average price of a new car, but not crazy prices. And I suggested Acura Integra of some kind. Do you remember what you suggested last week? Chrissy said Mazda 3.
Well, and Type R.
Yeah.
But I didn't think like actual Rice Boy Type R.
Anyway, the answer is Integra Type S, which
excellent
fantastic.
choice.
Yep,
It's a wonderful
exactly
choice.
what you
Probably
thought.
Actually,
best
a little
front-wheel
jelly.
drive
That's a
car
great
being
car.
made.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to driving it at HPDs in the future because that'll probably happen.
Oh,
So-
that's fantastic.
Yeah, that's what it is. So when you see
Congrats,
Vicky tearing
Vicky.
it up in her black Type S,
Well, and it
around,
was,
the Scranton area.
It's interesting. You mentioned, Bill said he pulled an engine and might put it back in because today Vicky was posting how she enjoys being at the hangar by herself, working on things when it's a pretty day. So she was probably reinstalling the engine. And
That was right before her lift broke.
oh yes,
There's
First world
that.
problems.
Right. Yeah, right. You're right. You're not wrong.
Speaking of first world problems, what are we doing next week?
we don't.
I think it's going to be a great show, though.
You bet.
It's going to be great.
It is going to be great. Love your
It is.
optimism. All right.
And thanks for downloading us. This great show too.
Woo!
We hope you've enjoyed this week's great Magnum PI edition of Everyone Racers. Also hope you'll join us in the world of driving, racing, and building because everyone can be a racer, even you. If you enjoyed this podcast, subscribe. Totally free. Go to iTunes, give us a 5-star rating like Tim did. Even if you hated us, 5 stars and tell us why. If you have any questions or show ideas, drop us a comment on the Facebook pages or all of the social medias. It's either Everyone Racers or Everyone.Racers everywhere. Text mental at 484-243-0455. Pictures of your junk are especially welcome. Find us on Instagram and Twitter at Everyone Racers. All these places, everywhere. Yep, that's where we are. Hey, thanks again. Until next week, keep the shiny side up. Unless, you're driving a 993 on Continental Extreme Contact Force tires and you're caring about being safe, then you're definitely going to keep the shiny side up because you're an enthusiast and a nice person. Have a good day.